What's up, guys? So I know it's been a little while since I posted anything on the build. I was waiting on parts for a little bit. We took some vacation time in there and slammed with work and stuff, you know. But today is the day that we get the LQ4 bolted in with the 4L80E transmission get bolted into the car. We're pretty much ready to go. I want to kind of elaborate a little bit on some stuff that I've done in the meantime. I've been able to get out here and just tinker around on a few things here and there, and then had to figure out the mess that is this swap. The kit came in some like Ziploc bags and some like saran wrap. So no instructions, but there was like a digital download thing that I never got to download. So I just kind of had to go back over some pictures, and the website's kind of broken. I guess they're updating it or whatever. But anyway, also, I don't know if you guys seen the engine bay prior to this, but it was red, obviously, and then we were going to go with the teal to match the engine block, because that was going to go along with the theme of the outside of the car. And roughly, this was what the outside of the car was going to look like. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's kind of like a pink and teal kind of, not a wrap, but a spray. It's actually a spray wrap is what it is. But anyway, because we're not really going to paint this car. We're just going to just try to get it nice looking, nice enough looking, so that it's not clear coat peeling as we're driving it down the road. But it's already September. Looking now to just get it running, get it driving, then working out some of the kinks and maybe improving some things through the winter. But I'm really excited about getting this thing going. We're going to get this mounted in here. And then maybe try to attach like the wiring harness and stuff like that at another time, because there's going to be some stuff going to have to go through to get through the whole harness and get everything to work with the Rx8 body harness and stuff like that the cluster needs, and the LS stuff to go together. So this swap is not completely uncommon. There's several of these out there. There's a lot, actually. And I really think it's a really good candidate for it. So bear with me, as I'm going to be doing this more likely by myself. But I got some ideas on how to get this in there. I am going to put the motor and the transmission together and try and slide it all in at one unit. That way I do not have to wrestle a transmission up on my chest. And I ain't doing it. I've done it way too many times before. I ain't doing it anymore. So you guys just bear with me, and I will run down what I've done kind of in the meantime, like I said earlier. So we'll get to that stuff here shortly. So now you kind of got a visual update on that. Now I'm going to kind of run down through it really quick and give you guys a little rundown of what we did in the off time that I haven't been posting. I've been able to get out here in the garage and tinker around a little bit. So I'm going to start off with the car. It's super easy, actually. The execution was not, but the parts were minimal. So I'm going to break it down to you right here. The engine mounts actually peered through this. There was an existing hole here, but I didn't hook up to anything. It was just a hole in this stamped steel K-member. And we actually had to put a crush sleeve in there and then run a through bolt and nut on the other side. But the crush sleeve was too short and the holes were too big, so I actually had to end up welding that in place. This used an existing stud for the rotary engine, but this is the way this mounts in, and these two things are absolutely strong. They're without a doubt going to be enough to hold up this engine. Now we had to move down the electric power steering rack, pull this down probably at 2 inches, this, you know, all this stuff came with the kit, but this steering rack location is just simple. You know, literally just move it down is all it did, and kind of angled it. Steering shaft extension, and no drilling there. I thought there was going to have to be a little bit of drilling, but that thing's locked in there and it is tight, good to go. And then down here we have the bump steer kit, the extension on the tie rod and heim joint. I just wish that there was a little more surface area here on the tie rod. There's some threads. I could have probably got a washer on it, but I really wanted to be able to put a washer on that, but it just didn't run it down far enough for me, so I left it off. So going on to the engine, the O-rings for the injectors, let me tell you, the O-rings for the injectors were an absolute nightmare. I went through like 3 sets. Online, you know, everybody's done this stuff. You know, LS stuff is just absolutely everywhere. I could have probably spent a few more months looking, but I mean, I Googled and then asked around a little bit on some old Reddit forums and old forums from like 2012 and 13 and stuff like that. And I wasn't happy with what I was seeing. There was mismatched part numbers, and those part numbers don't exist anymore. So I thought, hey, I'll just go straight to Holley and get the stuff that they would make for this intake manifold and fuel rail kit, and it should work in these heads. They didn't. The top did, but not the bottom. So I actually took the bottom and went and got Felpros, the only ones that I could find that would work. And I'll put down in the description the injector numbers and stuff that I used. These went in a whole lot easier. But that's not to say they didn't go in super, super hard. It was very, very difficult. I tried all kinds of things. I actually ended up trying to stick them in the freezer as a last chance hope of them going in. Put like oil on them. I tried all kinds of different things. It just took sheer brutality to get them in. Now I only hope that they don't leak. They move around fine. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any binding and pinching. So we'll see when we put fuel through to it. So anyway, the headers are out of a Tahoe, and I was going to order them from the website, but the website was out of stock. They said in stock. I ordered them. They had to give me my money back and all this other stuff. So these are out of a Tahoe. I do not believe, especially this one, is going to work. I really don't think it is, but we will see. There's no gasket in here. I just got it temporarily bolted up to it. I actually do intend on wrapping these up in header wrap too, just to keep them nicer and keep them a little bit more protected, keep heat out of this very, very small engine bay. ICT alternator bracket mount. This block, because it's a truck block, I actually had to drill and tap this whole spot here, and required to get the actual hold on a minute. Slipping my mind. ICT makes a billet to make that job a whole lot easier, and able to sit you up so that you drill in the exact spot, and then all you need to do is level the block with I had a little level that I stuck right here, and then put a level on my drill bit, and then on my drill, and then just ran it in, and it worked out perfectly. Then a nice tap to put that in there. This right here, the water pump, is actually the water pump that was on the Trans Am, and when it blew up, so it only has like 600 miles on it, so that should be good to go. This thermostat housing here is what was on the truck. I just took a wire wheel to it and cleaned it up. There's no thermostat in here. This is just to connect that to there. Thermostat I actually have is for this guy here, and it's 170 degree thermostat, Messier, however you pronounce that. I actually got an inline thermostat so that I can move it away, because it's going to be a little too tight in this area for that thermostat housing to do anything, and I'm going to probably end up cutting a little bit of this off and fabricating, like pie cutting, so that can come around and then drop down try to keep it nice and tight down here so it can go to a radiator. But anyway, that's all that's update on the engine. C6 mounts over here, kind of the whole kit's based off of whatever Corvette stuff can go in, and I haven't chose a radiator yet, but probably be something considerable to a Corvette. So I want you guys to just enjoy the music and enjoy me struggling on doing this stuff on a time lapse. I've got all the bolts picked out. All I got to do is just get to work. So we'll go from there, and I will check back with you guys, I don't know, probably after everything gets bolted up. As you can see in the time lapse there at the end there, I made an absolute huge mess. But I've been trying to get this thing to drain for quite some time. Had it tipped over. It would not drain. I don't know why, but it would not drain. So it's draining now. So hey, but I'm gonna marry these together like this, and then put a strap on the tail housing here to help support that as I get all this stuff squared away. Reposition the crane after I get everything put together, and then be good to go. And then all I'll have to do is torque the torque converter bolts. The flex plate's already torqued, 3-step torqued. All I have to do is step torque the torque converter, and then we'll be good to go. So get this on here, get it all mounted up, and this way it's a lot easier. I don't have to worry about damaging seals and stuff. Like I said, this transmission, I didn't build it, I didn't rebuild it or anything. I'm just gonna use it as is. The seal in the front is fine. The pump seal is fine. Nothing's leaking, so I don't really feel like spending money in that moment. I'll kick myself later for it. So keep this part in your mind if you're gonna follow the build, because I'll probably regret it. But again, I'm out here just trying to get this thing together. I used this ZEP stuff to clean up the spill, and I've had that bag for 4 months, and it's just a little tiny bag, you know, it's not that much. And I've cleaned a lot of stuff up, a lot of spills up with it. What's really cool about it is that I've reused it. Instead of using it one time, I've just put it right back in the bag, what I didn't use, and reused it. And this was probably the final time for some of it, so I did pitch some of it's in here. But it cleans up. I didn't have to wipe this down, it completely dried the floor. So, you know, we're good to go in that nature. So we're gonna jump back on the time lapse here. I'm gonna pump some new fluid in here and pull these cows out and get some bolts in here, get some stuff started up. Try to minimize my mess here, but we'll see how that goes. Alright guys, so as you can see, trans is on. I'm trying not to shake. I apologize if the camera's shaky. Trans is on. Motor, I got a few bolts. They're not completely torqued. They're not really started much. I just kind of want to get it over into here, into this area, and then I might snug these up and give it a shot. I'm going to try and move this camera a little bit. Different, hold it. So, now that I got it like this, I've got this strap here that's helping out with the tail housing. I can actually then pull that strap, loosen it slowly, and then dip it down, and then hopefully I can ratchet back up, help it on the ground, or I can just quickly lift the car back up. Not that big of a deal. So had another spill out of the dipstick tube area. That's my fault. I thought I had a plug in it. I didn't. It is what it is. So anyway, go ahead and get this put into here. Hopefully get it on the mount. See how that goes. So kind of give you a careful, I don't slip around here on my own mess, but the mess has only gotten vastly more worse. Anyway, kind of give you a heads up what I had to do. I had to take the headers off because they were in the way, and this whole scenario is absolutely not good. This is my own making 100%. So the mount here has got to go to there, and I'm hitting the oil pan now on this cross on the K member, so I'm having a little bit of an issue with that. I had to cut some studs off the front of the radiator support. That's not a problem. I can put those back or make new, but I'm also hitting the mount on this side. And the big issue here is, come on, focus, that I'm on the mount there, and my intake is absolutely level with the cow. So me wanting to run a higher intake has caused me some of my own issues, but we're gonna get there. I got a jack underneath the transmission to try to level it out a little bit. Doesn't really do me any good to go up with the car at all, so it's just gonna be one of these things. We'll squeeze it in, but I was really wanting to keep the headers on it because, man, I was wanting to see how they fit, and then I could come back up with it, rest the engine, do the header stuff that I was wanting to do, and then put them back on forever. But I don't know about that. So anyway, we're going to continue here and try to get this thing done before the wife and the kids get home from vacation. And got to overcome this obstacle right down there first.